Well, this is part one of a 3-point podcast special partner pod presented by the Memorial Healthcare Wellness Center, voted Shiawassee County's best health club and gym. Our other starting lineup of partners include ALS of Michigan, AZee Branding Solutions, Detroit Jerky, Jacobs Insurance Agency, Kori and Associates Real Estate Services, Nelson House Funeral Homes, Rivals Taphouse and Grille, Shiawassee County Fair, and Success Group Mortgage and Servicing. As you can tell, that is a mouthful. We have a lot of great partners, and we thought it'd be a great idea to have this summer, a little special salute for our great friends that help get us on the air.
Yeah. Yeah. And we've talked about a number of times that we appreciate all of our partners, and they're all really, whatever business they're in, whatever area that they're in, they really excel, and they're the best of the best at what they do. And again, we appreciate them, but they're all fun people to talk to also. Yeah. So, I mean, we all know them around the community, or maybe we've grown up with some of them, and we, maybe do some business with some of them also. So we just thought it'd be fun to actually sit down, I guess, virtually, and chat with them, have them pump up their business a little bit, but talk about some other stuff too. So yeah, this will be fun.
Yeah, it really was. I mean, I know one of my favorite interviews from this whole thing we did, which was 9 of them, right? 9 total partner interviews.
10.
I wasn't able to hop on the ALS chat with Rose. I believe her name was Rose. Sounds like you guys were really kind of blown away with what she had to say on that one. I mean, the fairgrounds chat with Dawn. I still haven't stopped thinking about it. I mean, we recorded that maybe a week ago at this point, and I want to go to the fair. I can't wait for the fair. So it was really cool to hear all their different stuff. And I mean, I tell you what, if we had like a council on our life, we kind of got every area set. We got insurance with Jacobs Insurance. If we need to buy or sell, we got Kori and Jim Woodworth. I mean, if we need to improve our brand, we got AZee Printing Solutions. We got everything, or branding solutions, excuse me. So it was cool to hear all of them and talk about all those different type of things.
Yeah, I mean, we really got a great roster of different services that are offered, most of them all homegrown. You're going to get the great service, and we like to spread the word. We like to be out there, be proactive, promoting our partners. And speaking of partners, we had a great conversation with Tony Nash of AZee Branding Solutions. He's coming up next. You're going to definitely want to listen to what he has to say about Caitlin Clark. Well, next up on the podcast, we have from AZee Branding Solutions, the main man, Tony Nash. And, for those of you watching on YouTube, you got your Tiger hat on, your Caitlin Clark jersey, all about branding. I'm sure we're going to get into that. But first of all, Tony, congratulations on what you've started when you took over Hankard's screen printing business, but you've really expanded that into so much more. Tell us a little bit about what AZee Branding Solutions is all about.
Well, yeah, I mean, you said it best. I mean, we were able to take over an unbelievable business from an unbelievable business owner, John Hankard. We've tried to carry on his legacy of just excellent customer service, high quality printing. We're a full service branding agency. We partner with businesses that are serious about their brand. And we do everything, not just from the digital world, which is what we were 2 years ago, but now offering print. So whether you need a website, social media, graphic design, whether you need some great high quality video production, we'll help you produce a podcast. And now, screen printing, embroidery, signs, banners. And so we really try to just be a one-stop branding solution. We have a team of branding experts that are really focused on helping our partners connect their brand to their buyer. And so it's a lot of fun. We enjoy what we do. We goof off probably a little too much, but we like to make work fun. And we appreciate the partnership with you guys, and love seeing what you guys are doing. Love your podcast. And I will say this briefly, that the print business is a whole different animal. We were excited about taking on, and we love it, but it has been a new challenge, and we're learning new things every day. But we love bringing people's brands to life via apparel and signs and banners. We really enjoy it.
Well, that's probably even true for the whole branding business in general, not just screen printing and t-shirts, but with podcasts and how that's changing, and video production and social media, everything in that whole world, which is pretty huge, changes day by day. So
it's ever evolving. And now with AI coming on the scene, you have to really stay on top of that. It's really changing our industry a ton. And it's becoming a very, very useful tool. But if businesses aren't adapting to using it, they're going to find themselves in a tough spot.
Yeah, I mean, it's not going anywhere. So it's one of those things.
No, definitely not.
hopefully it doesn't take over the world, but you got to kind of try and
seen
figure it
too
out.
Many movies that it does, so we got to keep our fingers crossed.
Exactly. Yeah, iRobot. We don't want anything like that to happen.
Right.
We had you on before, a little while ago, and we got a little more deeper into your guys' business. This is maybe going to be a little quicker, but for people who didn't hear that podcast, or maybe know other podcasts that you've done, you have your own podcast too.
Yeah.
Can you just talk about the actual branding thing? How maybe the Cliff Notes version of how important that is, whether it is a podcast, whether it is just a brick and mortar store, because there's just so much out there now. There's a million podcasts. There's whatever service you want. If you want screen printing shirt, you can just go online and get that stuff done. Or if you, whatever the business is now, there's so much of everything. How important is successful, good, whatever word you want to use, branding, if you really want to grow your business, whether it's a podcast, whether, whatever it is.
Well, I think it's more important today than ever because of social media, because of your digital footprint. People can find out more about you than they ever could before. And this next generation of people, the consumers, buyers, people that want to do business, they want to do business with brands that they like, that they admire, that they enjoy, that they look up to, that they enjoy their logo or whatever those things are. So it's very, very important. A lot of people think we're a marketing agency, and we're really not. We really are a full branding agency. And I say it like this. If people don't know you, you have a marketing problem. But if people don't choose you, you have a branding problem. And so I think you can market yourself to where everybody knows who you are. But if they're still not choosing you, then you really have an issue with your brand. And the brand is really the part of your business that connects to your customer. It tells them who you are, what you're about, why you're great, your culture, your values, the things that you place a high value on, your services. And so to me, if you have a great product or service but a weak brand, you might have a lot of people that know about you, but they're going to choose somebody else because of those things. So I would say a brand today is a very key element to growing your business.
One thing I want to ask you about, you're wearing the Caitlin Clark jersey.
Yes,
the
sir.
WNBA, with the emergence of Caitlin Clark, been a lot more eyeballs on it. And we've talked a lot about this podcast, how they've marketed, how they've branded Caitlin Clark. Whether it's how she's been fouled hard, whether they're letting these kind of almost on-court rivalries kind of play out without intervening. Let's just say you were in that room and talking about how you want to grow the WNBA and grow Caitlin Clark and everything about it. What advice would you be giving to them? Do you think they've handled it well? What would you do?
Well, I wish they would hire me because I think I could fix a lot of things. I think they have a golden opportunity right now. I will tell you this, before 2024, I'd never watched a single WNBA game in my life. Today, I am a WNBA League Pass subscriber. I'm wearing a Caitlin Clark shirt. I have always been kind of a hater on girls basketball. I have a daughter coming up, and we started watching Caitlin Clark in college, and just what an exciting player to watch. And for whatever reason, she's certainly not the best player in the WNBA, but for whatever reason, she's bringing attention. She's bringing eyes. And I think today, the biggest currency in any business is attention. You got to go where the attention's at. And Caitlin Clark is bringing it. Her average attendance for her home games is almost 17,000. The average attendance for her away games is almost 15,000 compared to the rest of the WNBA, which is about 6,000 or 7,000 per game. And so you can hate on the fact that she's getting attention, more attention than players that are not as good as her. You can see the on-court rivalries happening. You can see some of the veterans trying to make their mark with the hard fouls and with all the things. But to me, this is a golden opportunity for the WNBA, which is a failing brand. It has been for 30 years almost. They have lost money every single year, millions and millions of dollars. They've had players that have consistently asked for higher pay, better environment, all the things that the men get. And this is an opportunity with eyes on the league, with people watching it, with jersey sales up over 200%, with ticket sales up almost 90%. With League Pass subscriptions up 500%, with all of these things happening, the WNBA needs to take this opportunity and capitalize on it. It may not be here forever. It kind of reminds me of when Michael Jordan came into the NBA. The NBA was kind of not doing well in the early 80s. And you had Magic and Bird and Dr. J, who were phenomenal players. Kareem, actually better than MJ when he came in. But for whatever reason, MJ brought the eyes. He brought the attention. And the NBA did everything they could do to put Mike out front. They made him must-see TV with the shoes. You can see I got the sneakers in the background. And they made sure that he was, the commercials, the ads, the sponsorships. And you hear guys like Isaiah Thomas, one of my all-time favorites, say, we all ate off of Michael Jordan's success. And I think a lot of these veterans, current players, former players, and especially the executives at the WNBA need to understand that everybody is going to benefit from what Caitlin Clark is bringing to the league. And who cares who the credit goes to? I think it's because of Caitlin Clark, but they need to stop this whole jealousy thing of who's, what, and they need to capitalize on this opportunity and allow it to be the thing that propels the WNBA into a league that actually makes money and that people want to watch.
Kind of a follow-up on that, Tony. The whole Olympic thing. Should they have found a way to have Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese somehow be on that roster strictly for the marketing part of it? Because they're going to blow everybody out.
100%. I actually did a full podcast episode and wrote an article on this. You can look at our website, AZee Branding. We have a blog. We wrote an article about this very topic. And we basically said that them not picking Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese was a huge marketing fail. They haven't lost a game since 1992. That doesn't matter what girls they put on that roster, they're going to win. But the women's basketball gets the lowest viewership of almost any of the sports. And so if you're trying to grow a sport, they've been I hate to use the word crying for all these years that they want more people watching. Here's an opportunity to put the girls, the women's game on a global scale. Again, we'll go back to the dream team, right? You see guys today in the NBA who are the best players: Nikola Jokic, Luka Doncic, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Joel Embiid, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, all foreign players, and all say they started taking an interest in basketball because of the dream team. And I think the WNBA has an opportunity to put the women's game on a global scale, on a global stage, and allow people to come watch. And yet whoever's at the top, whoever's making these decisions, is not thinking business. And I understand the Olympics is about the best players and who do you take off the roster, right? But I think Caitlin Clark has proven, and Angel Reese now too, man. You can't sleep on her. She's doing some big things, but they're bringing eyes. And I think, man, put them on the roster, and you're going to see, even if it's a 2 a.m. game, you're going to see the fans show up, and it's going to bring sponsors, it's going to bring eyes, and it's going to grow the game. It's going to grow the game. And so I don't know if it's jealousy, I don't know if it's ego, I don't know what it is, but it seems to me like the people at the top, whether it be the USOC or the WNBA, they just don't see what's happening right in front of them, and it's a missed branding opportunity.
It seems so obvious to us and I'm agreeing with you and everything you say. So to everyday life, is there something that a lot of people come to you with, and it's almost like the first thing you tell them when they're like, hey, my brand's not succeeding? What is the very first, almost you can apply it to basically everybody. Hey, you need to start doing this more. What do you tell people?
Well, I mean, that's tough because every industry is different. Every industry is different. I mean, obviously you got to have a logo, you got to have a website, and you got to have a social media presence. I mean, those things are absolutely crucial today. If you're trying to operate a business without those three things, and really, I would say a strong logo is important, but really it's just got to be a recognizable and identifiable logo that says something about your brand. But, and then I mentioned this earlier, it's attention. So in your industry, where's the attention at? Where are people paying attention? Right now, in 2024, all the attention is on social media, right? So you got to have a social media presence. That's where the attention is. Whether you like it personally, whether you don't spend time on it, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram Reels, it's got to happen. And so we really try to steer people not into just being in those platforms, but having a good strategy to go along with it.
Yeah, I was going to back up here how Caitlin Clark has had an impact on the WNBA, because I work on the production of 2 or 3 of the games a week, that ESPN is broadcasting now. And even just being behind the scenes of those games, the production value has even increased, and the amount of effort that goes into the production. I mean, the production value, I should say, was always very good, but like
it's gotten a lot better.
The resources that are put into it has increased. Like the All-Star numbers came out, and just seeing that graphic is crazy to think about how much more how much more eyes, how many more eyes are on the game. So like I was gonna to show you like the attendance you were talking about with the All-Star voting. A'ja Wilson is the best player in the league. If anyone doesn't watch,
by far,
if she doesn't, if you don't watch the WNBA, A'ja Wilson's going to break every record this year. She's the best player in the league. Brianna Stewart won MVP last year, and she's very good also. But those two are the best players in the league. A'ja Wilson's All-Star votes last year, just under 100,000.
Yeah.
This year alone, over 600,000. So her votes went ×6. Brianna Stewart, basically the same thing, ×6. And Caitlin Clark's votes are over 700,000. So it's not like what happened. You know, if people want to say it's not Caitlin Clark, it's not Angel Reese.
If you're saying it's
Asia
not,
Wilson, Asia Wilson and Brianna Stewart were just as good last year as they are this year. And all of a sudden their all-star votes go from like 90,000 to 600,000. So, you know, it's crazy. And
that's why I'm saying they have to ride this wave, because, you know, as a League Pass subscriber, it's crazy to me. I watch the games, especially the Indiana Fever games, and during the timeouts and intermissions, there's no commercials. It's almost like they weren't prepared for this. Like, they have an opportunity to sell a ton of, and it's just videos of what's happening in the stands, the kiss cam and all, and it's like, what a missed opportunity. And it's just, to me, it seems like maybe they didn't know what was going to happen. Maybe they weren't paying attention to what was happening at Iowa. But, you know, Caitlin Clark could get hurt. And you don't know how long this wave of opportunity is going to be here. And if they don't do something soon, they will continue, mark my words, they will continue to be a failing brand. The brand is failing. It has an opportunity right now to change that. But for whatever reason, they don't seem to be capitalizing it. I will say this, the All-Star game, Team USA versus the WNBA All-Stars, that's a stroke of marketing genius. That was a brilliant move. That's going to put so many eyes on that game. I'm looking forward to that. I think that was a great move by the WNBA to do. Yeah,
I mean, they've been doing that for the last couple Olympics. That's not a new.
I didn't know that. Yeah, I'm new to the game.
No, that's not a new thing. And actually, last Olympics, they did the same thing, and the team WNBA All-Stars beat the Olympic team. So
really?
That's what's kind of crazy.
That'll be interesting if that happens this year.
Yeah. If the Diana Taurasi being on the Olympic team, Caitlin Clark being off, and, you know, them playing each other. Angel Reese wants to prove herself, you know, Aaliyah Boston. So it's going to be a good game.
It's going to be must-see TV, man. Yeah, people love the rivalry. And, you know, a lot of people hate on Angel Reese, and I don't like a lot of her antics, a lot of her attitude, a lot of the stuff she says. She's proving herself on the court. Yeah, and she's kind of embracing the villain role. And so if that's who she's going to be, my thing is, if you're going to be the villain, just own it. Don't cry after you get beat. Don't complain that things didn't go your way. If you're going to be the villain, be the villain. It's worked for Draymond Green. It worked for Dennis Rodman. It worked for Rasheed Wallace. If you want to be the villain, you can make a lot of money being the villain, but then you just got to own it.
Yeah. Hey, it works in the WWE without a doubt. No doubt.
That's absolutely right.
Hey, Tony, we definitely want to book you down the road just to talk sports.
Just talk sports, baby. I love it.
Right.
Yeah. Good conversation. But for this special podcast, we're talking specifically AZee Branding Solutions. Final words from you. Best way for our listeners to reach out, get a hold of you, find out what you're all about.
Well, listen, growing a brand can be difficult. You know, you have a business because you're really good at something. You have a great product, you have a great service, but maybe branding isn't your thing. Maybe, you know, social media, a website, all of those things aren't your thing, but you know it's important. We want to partner with you. So you can reach out to us at www.azbranding.com. You can reach us by phone at 844-360-AZEE and reach out to any one of our branding experts. We'd love to sit down with you, have a free consultation, take a look at your brand, and we'll show you the areas that we can help. One thing I can guarantee, and you can talk to scores of other clients we've worked with, that we will never try to sell you something that we don't think is going to work for your brand. And so we really just want to sit down and listen, hear your story. I'm kind of a branding nerd, so I just like to sit down with people and hear about their brand. Typically, if you meet with me, I'm not going to try to sell you anything. I have a sales and marketing director for that. If I think there's something to sell you, I'll set up a meeting with him and you. I just want to talk about your brand. So let's sit down, have a cup of coffee, talk about what you do, and I want to geek out on that. And if there's some way we can help you grow, well, we're here to do that for you.
Outstanding. Tony Nash, as I was saying to Kori Shook, you're part of that Owasso area movers and shakers, baby. You're part of that group, and we love it. So appreciate you taking time out to join us, and appreciate your partnership.
Appreciate you guys having me anytime. We look forward to seeing what you guys are doing. Keep it up.
Thanks, Tony.
Thanks, guys.
All right, we are now joined by Noah Jacobs of Jacobs Insurance, and maybe arguably even more notably, Boston Marathon participant. I'm sorry, I would have had your numbers and your qualifications ready, but I just got this intro sprung on me. But regardless, can you maybe give it to us right up there? You just recently ran in the Boston Marathon. What was your time? Where'd you place? What was that experience like?
Yeah, so Boston was unbelievable. It was really, really cool. First time I've ever done a major cities marathon, anything like that. So I ran 2 hours and 41 minutes, and I believe I was 511th place out of about 27,000 finishers.
Wow.
What was
so pretty
that,
good.
First, when I think of the Boston Marathon and those major marathons in general, that first I don't know how long you're in the middle of that major crowd for. That first 5 minutes, that first minute, what is that like? And is it pure chaos? Because that's what it looks like to the viewers.
Yeah, the first couple of miles, you're really just running what everybody else is running. There's not a lot of wiggle room. I mean, you're just running down Corona Avenue, 2-lane road, and it's filled with thousands of people. So the whole race, I think I did a good job kind of like moving up and passing people throughout, but it was never like you're on an island. There's always somebody close to you. There's always somebody catching you or you're catching somebody. And it's really a crazy experience to do that for 2 hours and 40 minutes is unlike anything I've ever experienced.
Wow. It's amazing. And by the way, we forgot to mention also a future Corona Cavalier Hall of Famer.
Oh, yeah.
Congratulations on that. I got a question. One more question on the race. I just watched Patriot Day with Mark Wahlberg, and they did a great job with that movie. But did you get at all creeped out at all running past that spot? Did that cross your mind at all?
I was in so much pain at that point and really just so happy to like know once you get past mile 25, you're still hurting, but you kind of know you're going to get there. So at that point, it's so cool. There's so many people around. The atmosphere is unbelievable. So that never crept in my mind. And I think that there's security through what we had to do to get bib pickup and everything there. I didn't have any doubts of my own safety. I was putting myself in enough danger trying to run a marathon. So
Yeah. Well, yeah. So to piggyback off what Ted said, congrats on making the Corona Athletics Hall of Fame. We all knew it was just a matter of time for you to make it. So that's really cool. But you've obviously very accomplished high school athlete, had a really good career at Wisconsin. And then, I mean, you're finishing marathons. You're running the Boston Marathon and finishing 511 out of 25,000 or whatever you said. Are you happy with that? I mean, like, is that what you were aiming for? You know, I know you guys always have your goals. You have what you're shooting for, your times and everything. Was that what you were aiming for? Do you feel like you could have done better? Or, you know, does that make you say, I got to do this again because I can improve on that?
I think for Boston, I don't have any doubt that I gave everything that I had that day. I would have liked to have run a little bit better time-wise, but there's some stuff that you can't fully be prepared for coming out of a winter of training in Michigan. So I think I did a really good job putting it all out there, kind of pacing myself properly and running the race well. I think with another year of experience of if I tried it again, I would have a better idea of how to approach maybe trying to run a PR or place as high as possible. But right now it's not pushing me to try and set some crazy benchmark in the marathon. So I think I accomplished and I put so much into running through high school and college that I'm satisfied. I'm still like working hard and running more than the average person, but I'm very happy to use that as my piece of fitness and being in the gym and staying in shape and still having some community with it. So not necessarily pushing myself to the crazy 5 a.m. wake up every day and putting in calorie counting and making sure I do core this many times and getting in the gym. I'm doing it to stay in shape, have fun and enjoy that part of it. So when I run a race or something, I still have a goal for it, but I've definitely relaxed. So I'd like to run. I'm running Chicago in the fall and I'd like to run New York, both the American majors, before I decide if I want to pursue trying a little bit of CrossFit stuff just to kind of dip my feet in or trying some other gym stuff. That's always kind of interested me, working out with a guy like Jared and doing some of that, guys that I did different sports than during high school. But I definitely still have goals and what I like to try and run, but I have not set the same type of intensity towards that as I did when I was in high school or college.
I got one more running question, and I actually want to ask you an insurance question I had from recently. We actually had a conversation this past weekend. That's a little tease for the next question coming up. So one of the things you think of when you think of a marathon is hitting the wall. I would imagine at the Boston Marathon with all the people there, the hills, maybe you probably hit a harder wall than you ever faced. When did that wall come during that race? And what made that race so difficult than other races you've been a part of?
Yeah, I think it takes a lot of mental energy to kind of run through those crowds, and you're figuring out when you want to get water, when you want to take food or calories in, and I would say it hit me pretty hard, probably 16, 17, 18 type of area. That's where the hills kind of really start, the Newton Hills in Boston.
Yeah.
And you're still far enough away that it's in question, but you're just hurting so bad that every mile was convincing myself, get to the next water stop, keep going, get one more mile, get one more. So you just keep battling in your mind. So I would say probably about 17 miles. I hit the wall pretty hard. And fortunately, I didn't walk. I pushed through pretty hard, but it was very difficult for about an hour of running.
Well, you made it about 17 miles further than I would have before that wall came. So I called you this weekend because, I have renter's insurance from Jacobs Insurance, host of the Prep Spotlight on our podcast. And I had a big storm here. I lost power. I had just went to the grocery store, spent maybe $300 on groceries for, the next 10 days, meal prepping. And I lost it all when I lost power. I didn't have any way to keep the fridge on. And basically I called you and we had a conversation. You said it's really not worth it. You said because of my deductible.
Yeah.
Listen, I'll be honest. When you said that, I didn't know what that was. So for a lot of people you probably deal with are kind of idiots like myself. What are a few easy questions you get a ton? Like, what is a deductible? What are some fast facts about insurance?
Yeah, I guess so. Fast facts would be your deductible is what you pay in the event you have a claim. So let's say you hit a deer, you have a comprehensive deductible on your new 2024 Ford F-150, whatever it is. You pay that deductible and then insurance pays the rest. So that's kind of what skin you have in the game. So if you choose a higher deductible, you have a lower premium, and different companies rate that different ways. But I would say that's a common question is, when is a claim covered in different areas based on what I have? If my house burned down, how much coverage do I have? So you get replacement costs on your home, almost every policy. That's how that's built in, so that Ted has to give me the information for his house that's proper, so that if his house burned down, got picked up in a tornado and thrown into Lake Manitou, whatever, it would be rebuilt the way that it was, and he's not going to get paid unless he chooses to rebuild it. So just because you insure something doesn't mean, okay, my house was insured for $500,000. It burnt down. I'm taking $500,000 and I'm moving to Florida. That's not how that works, unfortunately. So I guess those are just a couple of like quick fun facts. And then the other
doesn't sound very fun.
It's not fun. No. But so people have insurance for two reasons. One, if something happens and you need help paying for it, right? That's why you pay into insurance. And two, really is banks require it. If you have a loan on your vehicle, if you have a loan on your home, you're required to carry insurance. So we're kind of a necessary evil. And I think at Jacobs Insurance, we're really good at the service. We really try and meet people where they need to be, but people don't go and buy insurance and get excited about talking about it, right? It's something that you need to have, you need to protect yourself for, and that's really what it is.
And it's one of those things that sorry, Ted, to cut you off. It's one of those things that maybe, especially younger generation, because I know I was the same way as Jared. I'm still figuring it out. Right. And so I'm not going to act like I even know half of what you were just talking about, but you don't realize you need it until you need it.
Right.
You look at your paycheck and you see all the money that's going into this insurance, and you're like, what am I doing? Why can't I want that money? But then when you need it, that's when you're like, okay, cool. I'm glad I have it. Jared mentioned that you guys, Jacobs Insurance, are proud partners and sponsors of the Prep Spotlight. We appreciate that. We talk about how awesome our partners are and how much we love everything that you guys do. You guys are huge members of not just the Corona community, the surrounding community of Corona. Big 3 generations. The ad that runs in our podcast every week, 3 generations, just like our podcast. So I know you guys are a very proud company there, Jacobs Insurance. But I want to ask you, so this is probably going to make you cringe and you might hang up the phone. So sorry. We use Geico. Okay. I signed up for it a while ago when I basically knew nothing, and I was just like, whatever, I need insurance. So boom, geico.com, sign up, done. And I've just continued it because it's been fine. It's worked for auto, for renters, for whatever we've needed for home. So we've just kind of continued it because it's been fine. What would you say to somebody is the biggest difference between the Progressive, the Geico, or, just go online, sign up, those kind of places versus a family owned like Jacobs Insurance, where you can go and I can talk to Noah, I can talk to Gary, I can talk to whoever's in the office. Is it necessarily better insurance, or is it just customer service? I get to go talk to you instead of calling, I don't even know who I'm talking to on the phone when I make a claim.
Somebody in India.
Right.
Right. I think you hit on it. The biggest difference is the ability to have service. So if Jared calls me and he asks, what happened here? Is this worth turning in a claim? You're going to get an honest opinion from somebody that's your friend, at least. And that's how I like to think we treat our clients as family members, as friends. I'm very fortunate, as you talked about, being in the third generation. I did no work to be where I am in terms of a career. So I'm super duper blessed that my grandpa took the leap and decided he was going to buy an insurance agency. And then my dad and my uncle continued it. And it was something I wanted to be proud of and continue and continuously learning like every day. But when if something goes wrong, I think that's where everything comes in the biggest. You're going to get 1,000 emails from almost any insurance company if you're signed up for paperless or anything like that. But when you have to turn in a claim, when you have to make a change, and then you don't know what deductible you input, and hey, I just want my payment to be the same. Am I covered the same way for my car, my family, my house, whatever it is? And you're going to get to have that conversation with somebody like us at Jacobs. So I think that's the biggest difference. But I know it's an interesting, because you guys talk about it, like Jared and I, and Matt, sounds like you too. I didn't learn anything about insurance in high school or college, really almost at all, unless it was like an insurance specific course. Nobody gets taught what a deductible is, that, hey, I want to buy a car. You got to expect, an insurance payment that's going to be a part of that too. You can't just assume this is my monthly pay. There's so much around it that I wish there was a little way to educate like young adults or just students in general to have a super basic sense of knowledge, because you don't have to have a ton, but it is kind of a gap I feel that people have, and that it's something that makes us more valuable, I guess, as independent agents, is that you get to have a conversation with somebody like us that locally that has gone through similar situations, that knows a family member. So I just think that what we offer is really personable. We're just a middleman. We're a broker. So we work with your different companies like Geico. We don't work with Geico, but we are able to process changes, help make payments, help with claims, things like that. So we're a middleman, and we're able to look out for what's best for you guys as the client, whereas Geico Direct, they just want to look out for what's best for Geico. What gets us the most premium, or what is the way that we have to cover the least? Those are kind of the different things that you see a lot with some of that direct insurance.
Yeah, I got just a final comment and final question for you, Noah. You touched upon it perfectly. It's a matter of, you got 3 generations. You're a big part of the community. People trust you. I think trust is a big thing, that if you have questions, like an old guy like me, I want to talk to somebody. I want to ask questions. I want to know what I'm getting for my money. So I know a group like Jacobs Insurance, that's what you're all about. But my question is, since we have you on here, one of our great partners, just a short story, why our listeners need to maybe call Jacobs Insurance tomorrow.
Why call Jacobs Insurance? I think that truly, and I think we have a lot of great insurance agencies in Shiawassee County. We're very fortunate to have that. But I would say that our service far and above exceeds anything else that we get. Like in terms of what I do and what I hear people do within my office, going the extra mile when a renewal comes out and your premium goes up, and we're trying to see, can we change a deductible? Does that make something worthwhile for somebody to keep their payments there? What does somebody really need? Just to have that honest conversation. And I think something that I do that I've learned from my dad, probably more than anybody, again, in terms of being blessed in multiple generations, is if I'm truthful to Ted, Jared, anybody that calls, hey, here's what my policies are. If I say, hey, we quoted everything and we're not going to be cheaper right now, your coverage is really good, I looked at it, maybe here's a suggestion, this is something you could do, we're going to be upfront and open. Do I want to write your insurance, yeah, that's a part of how we get paid. But I also want to do what is best for the people in our community. And I think that's something that we do really well in and out of the office in terms of rooting for sports, rooting for people in the community, supporting different organizations, and then treating our clients the right way. So I'm really lucky to be a part of that. I got brought into something so wonderful, to work with my dad, to work with my uncle, to learn from the generations from my grandpa down, has been a really big blessing. And now I really appreciate you guys and your 3 generations aspect of how you do your show. And it really just means a lot to me being in a small town, doing the family business type of thing and being that involved in the community. I think it really does show why Corona, Owasso, Langsburg, Chesaning, all of Shiawassee County, all the teams that you guys cover, why it's such a special place.
All right. Well, well said. Nice conversation. You guys are located right by Home Depot in the Owasso Corona area. Tell us best way to find you maybe online.
You can look us up on the internet. It's just jacobsinsurance.com. Pretty basic. You can send our office an email, insureme@jacobsins.com, or you can try and find our Facebook page. Not that it's the craziest page. It's normally a picture of Gary once in a while doing something fun, but any time that you have any questions, you can feel free to reach out, and I will do what I can to make sure that myself or somebody is going to contact you within the next 24 hours to help answer a question or let you know that we're working on it.
All right, there you have it. Hall of Famer, Noah Jacobs.
Oh, yeah.
Appreciate the
Thank
time,
you, guys.
Noah.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, next up on the podcast, we have another one of our favorite sponsors and partners, as we call them, Kori Shook of Kori Shook and Associates Real Estate Services. Kori, I can't believe it. 20 years? You've been in business there 20 years now?
Yeah, it makes me feel really old.
Well, there's always a key to longevity, and I know a lot of it has to do with the services you offer. So let's start there. I know you helped us with my parents' house. We were really impressed with the work you did. And, I look around our area with people like Jim Woodworth, Randy Woodworth, Tony of AZee. You guys got your own little business thing going that I've been watching, and it's very impressive.
Be careful with that. If Ted's been watching.
Yeah. No, I would attribute a lot of my success to those types of partnerships.
Mm-hmm.
Randy is a good friend of mine, and he's been in real estate a little longer than me. And we could compete against each other, but we don't. Randy specializes in commercial real estate, and I specialize in residential. And it affords us a really great relationship where we can refer business back and forth. And then Jim and I, again, we do a ton of business together. Jim Woodworth with Success Group. We own a title company together, actually. And so those types of partnerships are really how my business was able to grow. I build relationships, and I'm very community based. You guys know I'm very involved in the Corona schools, but also just the Shiawassee and Owasso community as a whole. I love people, and I love being able to give back and serve. And I do that in the community. But then, yes, Ted, to go back to some of my services, we really implemented this VIP program, and that's kind of where our focus is going right now. And we've been kind of quiet about it. We probably need to get a lot louder so that the public knows, but we love to love on our clients. We love to show appreciation and giving back. So we have a whole VIP program that's kind of started with our client appreciation events. And then it grew into having a free moving truck. So we've got a 14-foot box truck that all of our clients get to use for life. So we want to build loyal relationships. We really believe that loyalty is the core of a good service business. And so all of our clients get to use all that stuff for free. Today I went out and picked up, we don't pick it up for everybody. This is very special clients, but I went out and picked up our bounce house and tables and chairs from a client. They hosted their daughter's second birthday, and we got to be part of that because we offer all of those things for free. It's kind of hard to even understand that we do all these things, but just fun stuff we get to do.
That is fun. And so with the moving truck, does it come with movers?
It does not yet.
That's maybe the next step.
Yeah, it should be the next step.
Yeah.
April, my director of operations, would tell me to shut up right now, but I don't like to say no. So usually when somebody, I say not yet, or maybe let me see what I can do. So
maybe that's some sort of program. You get some like co-op or something like that with Corona and Owasso High School. Get some high schoolers to come.
Yeah,
out.
there you go.
I'm just throwing an idea out there. You take it for what it's worth.
We appreciate it because that's what we're always about, growth, right? We're just always about like, what could we do next? What problem could we solve? What frustrations do buyers and sellers have? And that's kind of how the moving truck and some of the other things. We want to create this experience for people that we see our job as making it an easier, smoother process.
Right.
So.
Well, I would say that is solving a very big problem because I've moved enough friends out of their houses for a case of beer and a pizza, and it's just not worth it. It's not worth it anymore. So provide the movers and you're going to have a lot more customers. My question though, we can move on from that. So we interviewed Jim from, he's an awesome partner of 3 Point Podcast, also Success Group Mortgage and Servicing, your friend, our friend. I asked him a similar question, but I want to ask you. So when you look around at housing prices right now, and that's what, everyone wants to talk about, how crazy the housing market is right now. And, when you think about seeing the prices of some of these houses, especially I'm down here in Charlotte, North Carolina, these housing prices are just insane sometimes when you look at them and you think about buying a house as an investment. That's part of your, retirement. In theory, you sell it when you're ready to retire, you make a bunch of money and, you go live on a lake somewhere or something like that. But when you look at the prices, you start to think like, how much higher can this get? Like if I buy this now in 2024 and I'm not going to sell it in 20, 30 years or whatever, is it really going to still go up $200,000-$300,000? Like this is just starting to get insane with these prices. I guess if somebody comes to you with those kind of concerns or questions, what would you tell them?
Well, I think first of all, yes, housing is an investment, certainly. But you have to have someplace to live. So when you're talking about, okay, I'm going to look at this as retirement. You don't really though. You're not, when you're going to buy a house, you're going to buy a house because you will need to live somewhere. So you're not thinking about 20 to 30 years and am I going to be able to double my money? Okay. And you can't really look at it that way. There's many different aspects of buying real estate. And so if you're an investor, you need to look at short-term gain, depending on what that product is, whether it be commercial real estate or whatever, but you have to weigh all those things. And so I don't think that, grandpa and grandma who now have, doubled their asset in 20 to 30 years thought that was going to happen. And that's not why they were buying a house. They were buying a house because they needed to live somewhere. So we have to look at it that way. And how does it make sense now and in 5 years and 7 years? I don't know what's going to happen in 20 and 30 years. I certainly don't think that prices are going to decrease. We have a housing shortage, and that's why we have a pricing problem. So I think that I would not be in any way scared to buy property right now because I do think it's going to increase in value, and I am still buying. And Jim is still buying and Randy's still buying, So I think that's always a good sign in the market is when your real estate professionals are continuing to buy. I mean, we just bought some vacant land like a month ago. And it's crap. My husband loves to buy. He loves to buy the things that nobody else wants to buy, but we'll make money on it, and that's why we bought it. So I think you have to look at it as, yes, it is an investment, but you have to live somewhere. So it's so much better than renting. You truly are not investing in yourself at all. So the risk, you got to look at your risk when you're talking about investments, and certainly you got to live somewhere. So it makes sense to do it in real estate.
Yep.
This is something I've been kind of dying to ask you about, honestly, since you guys announced it. So big project. You guys are moving your headquarters right off of the banks of Shiawassee River on M21. Is that a building you've been looking at for years and saying, man, I want to restore that building? What all has gone into that, and how can you kind of give us a little bit of an update on where you guys are at with your progress with that building?
Yeah, I mean, we have, and we still have other ones that we have our eye on out there. But, yes, again, like I just said, my husband loves to look at the things that nobody else wants. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't say that one. But I mean, he loves those projects. And so we have eyed that for years. And we look, when we're looking at properties, we are looking at obviously risk, the level of risk financially, but also, yes, it's a big deal to us to be able to restore something that, nobody else, everybody's got ideas, but it's a whole different story. Everybody sees the visions that, everyone has said, I've always said there should be a restaurant there. Well, obviously everyone says that, but it's whoever can actually take that vision and execute it. And certainly Josh is very good at that. And I have a very high tolerance for risk. So we're just like, okay, we're going to do it. We're going to make it happen. So yes, we've eyed it for a long time. We're very excited about it. He walked in and said, I can do this. It was basically a shell. There was nothing there. And it had a new roof. And he's like, oh, one of the first buildings I will buy that has a really nice roof. And we can do this. And so where it's at right now is the exterior is getting buttoned up. It's almost done. And we put a lot into new brickwork, all opened all the old openings. So it's got all the original window openings and windows. It'll have 3 balconies on the riverside. And the front section, both up and down, will be my office. So we'll double in size. We're up to 10 agents and 2 staff. And I plan on adding, I'd love to add 5 more agents this year. So we are just out of space. So we'll go there. It's going to be the premier real estate headquarters in Shiawassee, maybe next to the beautiful, Woodworth sign just down the road. But what's going to be amazing. And then 2 apartments, a 1-bedroom and a 2-bedroom, and on the upper level. And then, we're saving that space in the back for a restaurant. It is very important to us to secure an amazing restaurant that will be long-standing and will be the very perfect thing for everybody in the area and to bring other people to the area. So
awesome.
You mentioned your husband, Josh. You guys really are like the perfect team. I mean, you have the vision. You look at these different buildings to buy. He can build pretty much anything. I mean, flat out, is that pretty much why you guys got married? Is because you need to do this
married?
It was a business decision.
Right. It's a business decision at this point.
Right.
No, we both went to Corona. We got together in 1997, a year after we graduated.
Wow.
No, we got together probably because we partied together back then. But we have 2 kids, both also Corona alumni, and at this point, it's something we really do have fun doing together. We do other things. We do enjoy the outdoors and things like that. But right now we're in a phase. Our kids Rhiannon just graduated from MSU. Reagan is away at college. And so we're really having a lot of fun with these new babies of commercial real estate. So.
Well, it's awesome. I'm glad Jared brought up Josh, because I was going to say, you got to talk a little bit about your favorite partner who just completed a nice project at my house, by the way, which was fantastic. So,
well, sounds like just putting in a little door at your house is nothing compared to what he usually does.
It was able to get his time.
Nice little project that he could get done and see the beautiful finished product.
Right. He's got a nice crew too. So, like I said at the beginning, I've been watching this, and you guys, your whole crew, I mean, you're doing great things. And like you said, it's for community service. It's to be around for the long haul. And we applaud you. So we love having you a part of our podcast. We loved being down at Buffalo Wild Wings in Detroit for that Corona Cavalier party. And, we look forward to doing more things together down the road, Kori.
Yeah,
before you go, tell our listeners best way to check out what you're all about, best way to find out what's happening.
Yeah, so obviously I'm out there. You can find me. Easy to find, KoriShook.com. More than anything, I will put a plug in that right now what I would love is that I am looking for to build my empire at Kori Shook and Associates. We would love to hire 5 more agents this year by the end of the year so that we can put them in the most beautiful building in town and grow along with us, because I am very big about sharing what I do and sharing all my knowledge, and would love to watch other agents grow up alongside us.
Share some of your energy with me, will you?
Did you hear it? That, well, Ted, you were just talking about your granddaughters were just over. Her kids are out of the house, so she has all the energy in the world.
I know, right?
Wait till the grandkids come.
Yeah.
All right, Kori. Hey, we appreciate the time, and we'll catch up with you down the road.
Guys, all right. Have a good night.
Thanks, Kori.
All right, next up on this special podcast, we have another one of our great partners from Success Group Mortgage and Servicing, Jim Woodworth. Jim, not only are you one of our partners, but one of our good friends, big sports fan. Welcome to this special podcast. Let's just jump right into it. You know, it's house buying season. What do you want to tell our listeners about what you can offer somebody buying a house?
Yeah, man. So from sports to home buying, this is
just right into it, man. Right into it.
Well, you know, we've seen over the last couple of years, really, people be really hesitant because of where interest rates have gone. And we hear all the time that, well, I'm going to wait until the market dips. You know, we think real estate prices are going to come back down, and we have a significant supply and demand issue, and all of the expertise and knowledge that I've gained over the last 20 years of being in the business tells me that we are not going to see any dip in home prices anytime soon. So if you're sitting on the sideline thinking that, you really need to look at what the cost of waiting might end up being, and what compared to what it is to buy now. And then if you do see a dip, what does that really mean to you? And it's not that big of a deal if you're in a home long term. So that's really the biggest thing we're seeing with people that are hesitant to get into the market. But it's an interesting time for sellers and buyers.
Yeah, you know, my first house, I think I got in at 11.5%, and it was an ARM. And the thing is that if somebody wants a house now, get it. And if the interest rates go down, you can always refi once you're in for a certain amount of time, right?
Yeah, it's certainly true. And I say that, you know, people are hesitant to get in the market. I don't know that we want more people getting into the market right now, just because it's already extremely competitive. If you are in the market, it's hard to get an offer accepted. You're ultimately competing against multiple families. Typically, we are still seeing sale prices above what the list price was, with, you know, waiving appraisals or waiving inspections and, you know, things like that. So I think, you know, if we did see more people get in the market, you would just see prices go even higher.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure, you know, where you're at, or you see markets similar to where I'm at, Charlotte, down here in North Carolina, and homes have just exploded over the last 4 or 5 years. We've been down here almost 8 years, basically since we came down. You know, we look like the hindsight thing, like, man, we should have bought these houses when we moved down here, because now they've quadrupled in value or whatever. And it's, you know, sometimes it's a little bit like I just try and think, like, how much higher can these prices go for these houses? Like, you know, the whole idea is when you buy a house is it's an investment. And when you are old, not like Ted, but when you're older and you're looking to sell or retire, you know, you're going to make money on it. That's the whole idea, right? That's going to be part of your retirement. But sometimes, you know, it's like, yeah, but these houses, can it really go any higher? Like, So when you hear people say stuff like that, like, what would be your, I don't know if it's a counter, or what would be your response to that?
Well, I would say, for the most part, with the exception of maybe a couple years, in the last 100 years, if you take every 5 years, somebody says, man, if I would have just bought that 5 years ago. And again, with the exception of just a couple years, you're talking about the last century of home values continuing to appreciate. So yeah, Matt, I have the same, you know, regrets or same hindsight's 2020 when, you know, my wife and I were first looking in Detroit. We rented, and it's like, man, if we would have bought then in 2012, like what the prices are now, like you can find those examples over and over and over again, all across the country.
Right.
And typically buying a home, again, if you're going to be there longer term, I'm not saying like if you're moving in, in a year or 2 years, it can be a little bit risky, but if you're in there for a few years plus, buying a home is typically, it has been a great investment. And Ted can attest to that, I'm sure, with his many homes that he's been in.
Yeah. Every single home I've purchased, I've made more money when I sold it, allowed me to get a better house after that. Absolutely.
This is a bit of a little bit of a left turn, Jim, but you have a podcast. It's a very good podcast. I usually listen every single week. As a partner of ours, what would you like to hear more of? What would you like to hear less of? Any notes on our show?
Well, I mean, I listen to you guys off and on. I feel like I'm just personally connected to the show because I know all of you very well in different, different ways. Right. So for me, it's always entertaining because the personal stories I can relate to. So I love that stuff. If you're trying to grow your audience, maybe that's not the best thing, to grow the national audience. But for me, I love the personal stuff and the personal connections and the talk about Corona and, how you guys grew up on that stuff because it's so relevant to me. But I don't think, I don't think
limited.
Yeah, I don't. So I'm probably not the best guy to ask because it's like, we're sitting at the bar just having a conversation when I'm listening to you guys. I've heard some of those stories before.
Mm-hmm.
When I see you guys, I'll bring up some of those stories. Like I love to talk about Jared passing a police officer. That's
not my brightest moment.
So, so for me, it's always the personal stuff. I love that stuff.
Well, we kind of settled into that, Jim. I mean, I don't think we have any aspirations of going, nationwide and, getting rich on this thing. But I think it's all about, and you're bringing it up perfectly. We get along, we have fun, we talk about things we like. And that kind of segues over to you and your brother, your podcast that you guys, I love that. I mean, it's a lot of helpful information, but it's also well done. And you guys have a nice, relaxing banter, which is really cool.
We do. And I've said this a few times I've said it more than a few times now, but like my brother and I, like we grew up, we didn't talk. And even like prior to a year ago, we didn't, we've never really sat down and had a conversation. So the coolest thing about that podcast now is I have a chance to connect with my brother.
Right.
And, I really love my brother. We just never really had conversations like that before. So for me, that's been the coolest thing about doing that is because I just, I get to learn so much from him, but I get to hang out with him for an hour at a time, which is pretty cool.
Right. No, I think there's definitely value in that. And, I've known you and your brother for quite some time. And while you say that maybe you guys didn't talk to each other, you guys both can hold conversations on your own very well. So that goes a long way when you have a podcast. And I think we try to stick to topics that the three of us are at least somewhat knowledgeable about, or very, we know a lot about, so we can actually hold a conversation. But having someone like Ted kind of lead it, he's been doing this his whole life, with radio and stuff like that. And then Jared and I, dabble in whatever we're doing. So I think, we have found a pretty solid niche of kind of our bread and butter. Cause we could try and go national, but we don't have these millions of followers or whatever, so like our bread and butter is maybe more local type of stuff. Are you guys kind of finding that with your podcast? I mean, I know you guys do talk about the business. We were talking about the mortgage stuff in the housing market, and you guys are obviously very big and successful in that area. Is that where you guys are getting your best feedback, or are kind of like you said, your best feedback for us? Are you guys getting your best feedback when you're telling personal stuff, like emotional stuff?
Well, it's been a mix. I can tell you, my aunts and uncles and cousins really love the show. It's funny because I've run into people in public and they're, like, oh yeah, I saw your podcast or this or that. Randy keeps all those stats and he's got all the metrics because he kind of runs the show. Mm-hmm. But he was recently diagnosed with cancer, and since then we've had a bigger following. Like people are curious about what he's going through and how he's going to beat it. And so the show's kind of evolved in a few different ways like that. I think one of the coolest things is I'm not going to say his name, but he's a big time dad of a former, Corona High School superstar athlete.
Mm-hmm.
And he called me out of the blue and was, hey, I just wanted to let you know, like, I'm going through my own health stuff, and this has been really inspiring to me. So I'm kind of getting emotional right now, but it's it's kind of evolved in a different way, where Randy's story has really connected with a lot of people, because everyone knows somebody who's had cancer or has cancer, is going through it. So it's taking on that next, I guess, phase of the show has been kind of interesting to see too.
Sure. Jared?
Yeah, I'll take her over. It's another little bit of a left turn, Jim. So big restaurants coming to town, Sakura. I have so many questions about this. Honest to God, we could fill up 20 minutes just about this. It's so fascinating to me. So basically, a building that at least had some fire damage, you're now bringing in a whole different type of restaurant. The amount of work that must go into transforming that into is it a Mongolian restaurant? It's a Thai, right?
It's Thai, yeah. It's Thai with a flair of different nationalities, I think.
I can't wait for it. That location, that street, it's just it's such a good spot. I'm so excited. What has gone into getting that place turned around? I mean, from fire damages, 3-4 years ago to now a brand new restaurant.
Yeah, so
like never-ending job, to be honest.
I'll give you a little backstory about this restaurant or this space, because when Lula's initially approached us, saying, hey, we want to move into your space that you own. So Lula's owned that building. We own the building that Lily Pearls moved into, like a sidebar of Lula's.
Mm-hmm.
And when we were creating that space, one of our last minute surprises from a construction standpoint was having to install fire doors. And it was a big expense, like $10,000 plus per door. So there was one in the front, one in the back, and we fought the city tooth and nail. We did not want to take on that $20,000 expense. Thankfully, we lost that fight. And one of those doors was open when they closed the restaurant. And the way those doors are designed is when it reaches a certain temperature, it closes. So the fire damage on our side was extremely minimal. There's a wall that's slightly charred, a brick wall that's slightly charred. Other than that, it was all smoke and water. But fire damage was minimal.
Okay.
So that was a real blessing that we were forced to do something we didn't want to do, and it worked exactly the way it was supposed to work.
Right.
But that being said, it is still a very expensive project when you are turning a space that did not have a commercial kitchen into one that now has a commercial kitchen. All the venting and HVAC that needs to go into a new kitchen is extremely expensive. So other than all of that, it's really been an easy build out, and it'll look a lot like what it did if you remember going into Lily Pearls.
Yeah.
The bar will be a sushi bar, and the stage is now where they're going to be, chopping up all the stuff and cooking all their stuff. It's not like a sit down, like Benihana. It's not like that.
Right.
You'll order from your table, but you can still see them cooking up and doing all the fancy stuff.
So what's the targeted open date for that?
We're hoping still sometime in July.
Awesome.
So the staff, the owners they're just top notch. They've already started hiring and training Owasso employees in their other location in Jackson.
Right.
We've already lined up housing for their people, so they're like ready. We just got a couple final last hurdles to get over, and they'll be serving us up hopefully sometime in mid to late July.
All right, looking forward to that. We could talk, like Jared said, another hour about all the things you got going on. But first of all, just know that all our positivity is with you and your brother for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a tough battle, and I'm sure with the positive attitude and everything else he's doing to attack it, I'm looking forward to the good results for sure.
He's got a great mindset. He shaved his head today.
I saw that. Yeah.
So it's incredible, Ted. He really, he's in his own.
Yeah.
It's the best way I can put it. He is in his own. His wife jokes that we only get to see him in his zone because that's when he's out and about.
Right.
2 days after chemo, that's when she has to deal with. It's a different.
She deals with the rough days, right?
Yeah. We see him. He just has an incredible mindset.
Awesome.
He's just making things happen right now. So I'm incredibly proud of him, and I know he's already got me convinced that it's not going to be, it's not a thing. He's got
Amen. Amen, brother. Hey, before you go, just again, tell our listeners, the best way to find out what you got going on your podcast and your business.
Yeah. So our podcast, you can find it on Facebook and YouTube, First Gen Wealth.
Yep.
As in first generation wealth, First Gen Wealth. And the business, my business, the core of everything I do is Success Group Mortgage. You can just go to www.successgroupmortgage.com and listen to the pod, because I think we still have an ad that runs, and you can just hit us up that way too. No longer licensed in Hawaii, so we do need to update the but other than that, Florida, California, Michigan, we got you covered.
All right, we'll update that soon. Jim, again, thanks for the time. Appreciate it, and we'll catch up with you soon.
Yeah, appreciate you guys. Have fun.
Awesome. All right, Jimmy. All right, next on the podcast, you've heard us talk many times about our title sponsor, Memorial Healthcare's Wellness Center. Well, we have Sarah McNamara with us. She's the Programming and Wellness Manager. Sarah, welcome to our podcast. I mean, I've been up there doing videos periodically. We promote you on social media, but it's good to have you here on an actual live on tape podcast. Yeah. First of all, you guys have a lot of exciting things. So for maybe listeners just tuning in for the first time or need a refresher course, tell us what the Wellness Center is all about.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for having me tonight. It's nice to get to hang out with you in this virtual space. So it's very cool. So the Wellness Center is an all-encompassing medically based wellness center. So not only are we a fitness facility, but we do offer some additional services in our facility that are really geared towards diagnosis specific things for different patients, not only within Memorial Healthcare, but for the community, Shiawassee community, and then, beyond that as well. So like I mentioned, we are a fitness facility. So we've been open since May of 2022. So fairly new still, but we do have a wide variety of cardio and strength equipment, free weights, pretty much a little bit of everything for anybody. But we also offer group fitness classes that are included in our membership. So we have 3 decent group fitness rooms. 2 of them are just open space where we have a variety of different classes. And then we do have a cycling studio where we have about 17 bikes, brand new. They're great to ride. So again, something for everybody, whether you want to, do your own thing when you're coming to the gym, or if you want to join a group class, great community options there too, and a wide variety of different classes. So ranging from chair classes. So we do have a large senior population that is with us throughout the week. But also it's great for anybody that's interested in just some lower impact activity, right? All the way up to those kind of like HIIT, high intensity cardio classes, cardio and strength classes. Another awesome feature about the Wellness Center is we do have a therapy pool. Within our building and the now at Memorial Healthcare, we have a couple of outpatient departments also in the building. So neurology, orthopedics, and physical therapy, we kind of share a space with all of them. So for the therapy pool, we do share that space primarily with our physical therapy department. It's a really great offering for our patients in our community to have that aquatic therapy, but we do try to take advantage of it in the Wellness Center too. So we have a couple of classes that are included in the membership, and then we have a couple of additional classes and programs, one geared towards arthritis, then another towards multiple sclerosis. And we do some other things in the pool too. We offer children's swimming lessons, usually a session like once a month. Then we have open swim for members, and we do a family swim on the weekends. So in terms of fitness opportunities, those are kind of all the things that we have going on. Additional services that we offer, massage therapy is one of them. We also offer personal training, both one-on-one and group, small group. We offer flexibility training, so that's something that's fairly new. Essentially, it's assisted stretching. It's a great option for people that maybe aren't so comfortable to get a massage in a more private setting. It's a little more less invasive. You're fully clothed the entire time. We have certified mobility coaches that are there to help really, help you become more mobile and just more comfortable in daily living, and really to complement the exercise that you're doing. Yeah, so we have a little bit of everything.
I was gonna say, sounds like you basically have something for everyone. If you have no idea, you've never been to the gym, you have no idea where to start, whatever. I mean, sounds like you guys offer every level of fitness, whether you are
Absolutely.
going to the high intensity, the HIIT classes, or if you want to go to a low impact, aquatics or something like that. I will say, when my wife was pregnant with our first child, I've told the story on the podcast before, but we went to a couple water aerobics classes because it's good for when you're pregnant, the low impact and everything. And it was mostly senior citizens in there. We were definitely the youngest people in there, but we both left saying we really enjoyed it. Maybe we've gone back a couple times, but we were like, we really enjoyed that. It's a shame that it kind of has that reputation of just being for old people or something like that, because it's great. Something you mentioned though, my wife works in healthcare, and we've talked about it before. She's talked to doctors at her office and everything. And a lot of hospitals are starting to see if they can put in maybe not a full-on wellness center like what Memorial has, but something so that getting up and getting active can be part of the therapy, can be part of, the recovery process. And I know, just from talking to friends, family, whoever that have gone through some serious surgeries and everything, when after you have something and you're just laid up on the couch or you're just sitting there, that's kind of what prolongs your recovery process, because you're not up moving. Get your body moving. Can you just talk about maybe how important that is? Maybe if there's some facts or some studies that like how important it is to get the surgery, and once you're capable, get out there and get moving, get the recovery process going.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm so happy that you bring that up. That really ties into our medically based wellness model. Something that really sets us apart from other facilities in the area is that we do have 2 exercise physiologists on staff. Monday through Friday, they're there from about 7 to 3:30. They're there for that purpose. So the beauty of the wellness center is that we try to integrate those different outpatient services into, trying to bridge that gap from healthcare into that healthy lifestyle that is something that's sustainable. And we know, with insurance, that when people have physical therapy or occupational therapy, cardiac rehab is another one. They only provide you so many visits. A lot of times people, they're still not comfortable at that last visit to be able to do things independently, especially, fitness wise. So we do have a program. It's called Phase 3, but it is a membership specifically for those graduates of those different areas: physical therapy, outpatient therapy, cardiac rehab, where they're able to come in. You can come in at any time that you want, but our 2 exercise physiologists are there from 7 to 3 to offer that additional clinical, level of safety in the building, or on the fitness floor, I should say, when members are coming in. All of our staff also is AED and CPR certified. So that's something that also sets us apart from other, maybe other gyms or other facilities in town, is just that we have that additional, umbrella of healthcare mindset within the wellness center. But absolutely continuing to move and stay, ambulatory as much as you can after surgery is critically important. And I think it's amazing for a lot of people now that they get some of these major surgeries, whether it's like a hip replacement or a knee replacement, and they're like, they already have me up and moving, hours after I get out of surgery. So that alone just says how important starting that, but also continuing that too. Even this last week, I have had members, we try to get as much feedback as we can from them as possible. Just explain how important the wellness center has been for their fitness journey or their recovery period. Just that motivation, that community aspect that we have to keep them coming back and keep them doing something has really helped them to heal. But also, it's really encouraging and motivating when you have other people there to help you along the way. The more that you have that, the less likely you are to turn back and be more sedentary.
Well, Sarah, before we let you out of here, first of all, I've got to say again, a big thanks for being a part of our podcast. We love promoting what you guys have going on there. I mean, you've talked about all the services, just really not all of them, but the majority of them. But you also, have the first class locker rooms, the private shower suites, the sauna. the steam rooms. I mean, it's just a great one-stop shop to get healthy, and that's what it's all about. Before we let you go, tell our listeners, maybe what you might have upcoming on the schedule they should be aware of, and the best way they should check out more information on the Wellness Center.
Yeah, absolutely. You're right. We have so much going on and we have so much to offer. But a couple of things that we have upcoming, we do monthly challenges. They're usually incentive-based programs. They're usually health or fitness related. Right after 4th of July, we're actually starting a youth conditioning camp. It's for ages 12 to 18. We have a brand new team member. His name is Tyler. He is very experienced in working with youth athletes or just youth that maybe are interested in kind of kickstarting that healthy lifestyle if they've been sedentary and they want to start something new. So we have registration for that. Swim lessons, our next set of them is starting on July 8th. Those are 3 weeks, twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays. So those are a couple of the youth activities that we have upcoming. We are always keeping a rolling roster for the arthritis aquatics program. And then water and motion is another class. It's a premium class. It's pay per class that we offer, but it's in the pool. It's kind of in between from like a high intensity aquatics class versus, the arthritis or the aquatone that's a little bit lower intensity. It's right there in the middle. Very fun, choreographed. So that's something that we have drop in that'll be on Tuesdays in the morning through July. So members or non-members are able to join that class.
Nice.
We've gotten great feedback. So
Cool.
A lot of things going on. The best way to check out the Wellness Center really is to come in and visit us for a tour. So we're staffed all of our business hours, and we do have summer hours right now. They are on our Facebook and on the Memorial Healthcare website if you want to check that out. But one of our team members would be happy to come in, answer any questions that you have, and showcase the facility and see what we're all about.
All right, Sarah, we appreciate the time. We'll do this again down the road, but thanks a lot for all the information.
Thanks so much. Have a great night. Thank you.
Thanks to the Memorial Healthcare's Wellness Center. Don't forget to join the Wellness Run Club headed up by Rachel Smith and Ben Jacobs. Our other partners include ALS of Michigan, AZee Branding Solutions, Detroit Jerky, Jacobs Insurance Agency, Kori Shook and Associates Real Estate Services, Nelson House Funeral Homes, Rivals Taphouse and Grille, Shiawassee County Fair, and Success Group Mortgage and Servicing. Special thanks goes out to Noah Jacobs of Jacobs Insurance Agency, Jim Woodward of Success Group Mortgage and Servicing, Kori Shook of Kori Shook and Associates Real Estate Services, Sarah McNamara of Memorial Healthcare's Wellness Center, and Tony Nash of AZee Branding Solutions. It was a lot of fun, wasn't it, fellas?
Yeah, like we said, we tried to keep these short. Same thing with our normal podcast. We always say, let's try and keep it short. Then we end up going an hour and a half. Same with these. We were like, let's try and keep, 10, 15 minutes. We could do full podcasts with all these people. I mean, have a good hour chat with all of them. So yeah, we appreciate them all making time to chat with us.
Well, I hope you all enjoyed it. Peace and love, everybody. Be kind. Thanks for listening.